Hi, I'm Lenora.
I'm Kristen. Hello.
I'm Isabel. Hola. Hi, I'm Isabel. I am the founder of The Uprising Spark, and I'm a coach for Childfree women who maybe have some feelings of insecurity around our choice. I'm also the organizer of trips for Childfree women only, and I am also the host of the Honest Supper podcast.
Hi, my name is Lenora Fay. I am a child-free lifestyle advocate. I am a co-founder and moderator of the upcoming 2022 Virtual Child-Free Convention, which is happening Saturday, July 30th and Sunday, July 31st. It's a free global event on Child-Free Convention YouTube.
Hi, I'm Kristen Tetzi. I'm the author of The Age of the Child, a novel in which a desperately child-free woman is living in a time when Roe versus Wade has just been overturned and her appointment to get an abortion is thwarted by the newly chained doors of the last standing abortion clinic in America. And we are the three founding non-mothers of Childfree Girls. And today we're talking about something that I think even just as a conversation itself gets people excited. And I don't necessarily mean in a good way. I mean, it's just a very exciting kind of topic because you have certain camps of child-free people or even child-free websites where the child-free community is a little less than gracious toward parents and children, I guess is the best way to put it. It's where words like crotch fruit and crotch goblins and sperm demons and seed demons and
womb weasels,
all kinds of delightful terms for children. And then breeders, I think breeders is fuck trophies for kids. Although Ian's friend called his own kids fuck trophies as a joke. I mean, talking to my husband, and then Ian's like, fuck trophies, Jeff, Jesus, Kristen complains about child-free people saying that word all the time. And he's like, how about intercourse reward?
Can we have this friend on the podcast?
He's pretty cool. Yeah, that's where you'll find language like that. People being angry at parents and angry at kids. But the funny thing is this is coming from a group of people who claim to want to be understood or who are mad at parents for judging their lifestyle. So I guess what we're talking about today is that kind of thing. I mean, but Isabel, have you ever, even before getting super comfortable in child-free community, have you ever referred to children as crotch fruit or any other delightful? It's almost tempting to make them up just because they're fun.
Yeah.
But have you ever used that language, or how does that language make you, like, what do you think about that language?
Very colorful language. No, I never. I remember, oh my God, I remember when I first embraced the chocolate lifestyle, I didn't even know that there was like a whole community online. Like I set out looking for my people in a way, and I was like really excited to sort of like connect with other people who had chosen not to have children voluntarily. And then I got to these Facebook groups, and I started reading all those, delightful, as you put it, terms that they're using for both children and parents. And I remember feeling horrified. I remember feeling, first of all, I was surprised in a bad way. I was like, why are we calling them this names? Like, what am I missing? And honestly, I feel that and this was like my feeling from the beginning. It's completely unnecessary. Like, I get it that some people are just really angry and they want to use terms like that. I'm not saying that they shouldn't. Like, I don't censor people. You say whatever you want. It's fine. But I don't understand, like you mentioned, Kristen, some of these people are also people who are not looking for, validation from parents. That's not the word I would use, but maybe, just being accepted, I guess, understood, not being judged, stop being bingoed, because we know that's not fun. But then they use these terms, and I'm like, what I think, honestly? I think it's sort of like what comes first, the egg or the chicken kind of thing. Because, I mean, if you're being treated badly, and I'm not talking about this happening 1 year ago or 5 years ago, I'm talking about like since the beginning of people being, coming out as child free and saying, oh, I don't want kids. If you're treating badly and if you're called names, because we are also called names by some parents, which are also very colorful, like empty egg carton, baby killer, things like that. So I understand that there's some of us or part of us who wants to sort of just answer the same way. But if that's happening, that dynamic, I don't see how we would be able to reconcile in our difference. You know what I mean? To me, it's pointless. Like I said, people do it all the time. That's that's what makes them feel good, and that's what they want. Cool. I don't want to be part of groups. I mean, honestly, I don't interact in groups who call them that way. But there's a lot of groups that they use that language very openly. Definitely not a thing I would do.
What about you, Lenora? Have you ever used those words? Do you find them funny? Do you find them offensive? Do they bother you? Do you care?
Well, I have to say, I was once called a dry tree on LinkedIn because I promote child-free conversation. I was like, I love trees. So I wasn't overly offended. I just thought it was funny. Okay, so like Isabel, like I didn't know that these kind of conversations happened until like 2018 when I discovered online child-free. Because I mean, it never came up as far as hating kids or having any of that language, like just in daily life. It's just not part of, I wasn't aware it was new. So I can't recall the first time I saw any of those names. It would have been in a Facebook group. Like that was the first thing I found was a Facebook group. My initial reaction was to laugh because I'd never heard anything like fuck trophy. Like I saw them all. I didn't know, like, so my initial reaction, I thought it was hilarious because like it was a new idea to me. And very quickly, I mean, it was not something I would say because where would I say it? This was even before blogging, and just, it's one of those things, it's totally inappropriate and unnecessary, but you laugh anyway. Like that was my reaction. But quickly I learned how in those spaces, I understand the need to express oneself. And look, without being too sensory, if it's in a self-contained area, I get the need for people to speak freely. But unfortunately, it's something that a lot of times people can publicly see those comments. And now as someone that really seriously like takes this conversation seriously, and the whole point is to promote awareness, like it's not something I can interact with. On our show, we generally don't say those words except as a reference point or a Halloween episode. And so I've never felt like even just on one-on-one conversation, I still don't use that language because it's not necessary. It doesn't bring me any joy. Let me put it that way. I will look, I can appreciate a meme that's completely off the wall and uses language, and I may laugh privately. Do I like it? No. I'm very conscious of that. But even in private, it doesn't give me any pleasure to say it. So I don't. I think, and then that's an interesting way of looking at it, though. If it brings a person pleasure, I mean, to say that, like that's a whole other conversation.
Lenora Mary Condit the language.
Yeah. It does not spark joy to say womb weasel. Well, that was in the context of one of our Halloween episodes. But yeah, I guess Kristen didn't like my answer. Like, I'm out of here.
We seem to have lost one of the Childfree Girls.
Oh, she's back. Okay. Yeah. I was taking that personal, Kristen. I'm like,
my cat was being super disruptive. Like it just got out of control. I had to get him out of the room.
Oh, is he missing, little dude?
Sometimes he'll look at places where Samson used to sit. Mm. Like he'll just look past me where Samson would always be sitting, and then just kind of look at me. And it's like I get speak English and I can explain everything, but
yeah,
it's too bad.
How about you, Kristen? Have you ever used that language?
No, I really haven't. In fact, there was when I was writing a Sylvia D. Lucas, and I didn't know there was child-free stuff out there. This was like '07, and I started a blog about child-free stuff. And in doing that, I kind of started looking around at these places, and there was a forum called, I probably shouldn't say what it was called, but I went there. And I think I said something like I saw all the anger that was there and I mean, seriously, it was just, I know people are angry and I know they're defensive and I understand that. But it seems like there's only so much compassion you can give people when they're being truly mean-spirited. There is a time when a certain level of maturity should stop you from being so nasty. You know what I mean? And I think there was a parent who had come on there just to say, hey, just want you guys to know that I think it's really cool what you're doing. And if you ever are interested in a parent's perspective, or if you ever have any questions for a parent, I'm happy to answer those questions. And this person just got pounded, like just piled on, goes, why should we want a parent's perspective? And what do you think you have to offer? What are you even doing here? Ew, nah. And it was just unnecessary. And it's like, why do we have to have this war? This guy didn't do anything to you personally. It's almost like it is a prejudice. And you could say anybody's prejudice is based off of insecurity or ignorance or defensiveness or lack of knowledge or how they were raised or whatever. So there's an excuse for everything if you go down that road. But seriously, this guy was just being nice. And then I defended him, and then I got in trouble. And that's when I've been called a breeder pleaser a few times just because I don't, engage in parents are evil and their kids are the spawn of Satan. Isabel has also been called a breeder pleaser. I'm guessing from her gesticulations on this video that you're maybe not watching, and you should on YouTube and subscribe.
We're gonna get called breeder pleasers for this episode because we're defending.
Yeah, but I was actually going to mention something regarding that, because before I get there, I just want to say that I read something, I think it was last week, and now we're not only breeder pleasers, we're also parent bootlickers or something like that. Like
we are?
No, like just people, like tribal who are not calling parents names and just being generally mean,
Bootlickers?
We're parent bootlickers?
Parent bootlicker or something, or soul licker, parent soul licker, or I don't remember exactly. I just thought,
how about or parent ass kisser? Like it's all kind of the same thing at this
like point. Parents pet. Ooh, let's be parents pets.
Or so, yeah, exactly.
Wow. The internet sucks.
Someone should shut it down. We'll see. Now that Elon Musk is like fucking bought Twitter, it's gonna get worse. But don't let me derail, because me and Elon Musk is fucking personal.
Yeah, is there a story? Okay.
Well, he's an asshole, but you can.
Did you date him?
Yeah. How would we have not known about that? Come on.
No, honestly.
I'm gonna Google Isabel and Elon Musk.
I've dated profile people before, but not him. But that's for another story. That's another story, another episode.
She's saving herself for Justin Trudeau.
Exactly. I haven't dated him, but I want to. Hey. Anyway, regarding the whole breeder pleaser thing, I have noticed that many of the people, or not, I won't say many, some of the people who call parents and kids all these colorful names are also gatekeepers. I know we've spoken about gatekeepers before, right? And I think gatekeepers, when you are defining your identity based on whatever, it doesn't matter what we're talking about, it's bad. It's bad to have gatekeepers in the sense that they feel that they have the only and like the one and only truth about who can call themselves blank, including being child-free. So I've noticed that some of these people are gatekeepers, the same people who are saying, if you are married to a man who has children from a previous marriage, you're not child-free. If you had a kid and put it up for adoption, you're not child-free. If you are, just all these rules that they have about who can call themselves child free and who can't. Based on what? No fucking idea. But those are the same people who are calling us breeder pleasers. Because these people think that being child free equals hating parents and hating kids. And we all know that's not true. I mean, you can't generalize. And oh my God, there's just so many thoughts coming through my mind right now. I can't even like put them in order, but it just makes me really angry that people define who can be child free based on their own realities. And like from a posture of I fucking hate these people being parents and kids. They're for whatever reason, I don't care. That's your problem. Therefore, everyone who's child free also should hate them and treat them like shit. And that makes no sense in my head. So I just had to get that out.
I never thought about it that way. That's a good point. The perspective of, because I hate parents and kids and I'm child free, you should be the same. Because that explains a lot of comments from parents I've been getting on TikTok, because they have encountered that attitude. Because I was looking, I posted something, it was yesterday's post, and I'm reading, I'm thinking, well, where in my post did I say anything about what they're referring to? But realizing they're referring to a lot of other content they have seen from a child-free perspective that is that same tone. And that's an unfortunate battle for some of us. Because
no, it is, because those voices are loud when parents, when non-child free people out there see all these people like putting on Twitter, oh, the Reddit child free subreddit is just toxic with people like hating on parents and hating on kids, and what kind of asshole hates a child just for being a child. And so they start to think that that's just what child free people are.
Yeah. And and then it's harder, because we're not opposed to having parents on our show. We've had parents on our show. We will continue to have conversation with people of all, lifestyle choices. But it does make it harder even to connect, because there's that assumption and that's a bit of a blanket statement, but there is that assumption that we are going to, come out and attack. Do you remember that influencer that one from Australia that never showed, like our only no show we've ever had? And yeah. she had asked us ahead of time what we were going to ask her, because she did not want, she spoke out against that Reddit thread, and we invited her on the show. She ended up not showing up, but she had asked us, what are you going to ask me? Because she thought maybe we would jump all over her. So
some people also just really need to be prepared. Like they're afraid of spontaneous questions that might catch them off guard.
Right.
But that's the thing. I mean, if they're defensive about it, it's because there's a reason to be defensive. And I'm not only talking about parents being defensive, I'm also talking about child people being defensive.
Yeah. Like
there's reasons, right? And I don't, like, I understand there are reasons, but at the same time, I mean, honestly, I just feel it's just not a good look to go around being mean for absolutely no reason to a group of people, like a general group of people. Because you're not just being mean to one person. You're saying, calling all parents breeders, or calling our children crotch fruit or whatever. And the thing is, in my case, for example, some of the people that I love, really love in my life, are parents. And some of their kids are really cool kids, So I would feel really bad calling parents breeders, knowing that there are parents in my life that I absolutely love and adore. And being parents or not being parents has nothing to do with why I love them. You know what I mean? So I wonder what their personal relationships are like with friends or colleagues or even family members.
Or even how they, like, it might just mean that they need to, because I think if you're that angry, like the way homophobic people are very, very excitedly angry about gay people, there's a reason for that. Often they are gay, or they are afraid they're gay, or they've been taught to fear the gay by the Bible or whatever, but even the Bible can't be blamed for making some people so hateful toward gay people or anybody who's not cis, straight, whatever. So if the people who are so angry about parents and children that they go out of their way to be offensive and to be angry and mean. First of all, it can't be good for them. It's not good for yourself. You're not doing yourself any favors as a child-free person by spending that much energy on parents and kids. I mean, you're kind of defeating the purpose. But also you might want to look at, and I'm not trying to be all like cringe or whatever the hell the word is, but you seriously need to look at yourself and maybe kind of get to the bottom of why you're so mad. And then, because I think it'll feel better to not be that mad, and it'll feel better to not, want to spit on all the parents you see walking down the street. Just why are you so mad? What kind of pressure are you under, or what kind of judgment are you receiving? And how can you combat that instead of people who did absolutely nothing to you, you know? And there's also something to this about this whole understand me, but I'm not going to understand you. I forget if we left this in our last episode, but there is a certain culture right now where anybody who is not, I guess, considered in the circle of like the Venn diagram center of whatever is average or quote unquote normal, anybody who's outside of that is kind of demanding to be understood, demanding to be seen, demanding to be heard, and giving no fucks about anybody else. It's like nobody else has feelings, nobody else has problems, nobody else has concerns just because they don't have your particular situation or your particular problem. But those people do also need to be considered. You are not the center of the universe, and you just really have to accept that.
So I have a question, and it's kind of an odd question to ask, because even referring to, like, the question is for a content creator perspective, do you consider the feelings of non-child-free people when you create content? And I realize this is an odd question because the three of us collaborate to do our Childfree Girls social media. So we will have one answer as a collective, but then also the question is for Isabel as the Uprising Spark, and Kristen as you, even with your books and what you do in other social media spaces. So, when you're creating a post for the child-free community from the perspective of being child-free, not having kids, do you consider what a parent's reaction to your comment or your caption might be when you're creating anything on social media? And then do we do that as Child-Free Girls? That's as well.
Honestly, I don't think so. But, it doesn't have, in my case, it doesn't have anything to do with the fact that I hate parents, because I don't hate parents. It's just, I think Kristen has said this before. Anything that you say can offend anyone. Like anything can be misconstrued. Anything can be interpreted in so many different ways. And there's always going to be at least one person who's going to be offended about what you're posting. I personally I try to be very conscious of what I post, in the sense that I try to make it uplifting and like optimistic, and just focus on, we're child free, instead of, oh, parents suck, or, babies suck, or whatever. Like, that's not it's not about comparing ourselves to what we're not. It's more about who we are and what our potential is as people and as our community. I really try. I sometimes miss. I'm not perfect, and I know that there are some posts out there that maybe missed the mark, or were completely misinterpreted. Like I see that. I have gotten messages from people saying, "Whoa," and I'm like, "That's not what I meant." So I don't do it consciously, of course. What I try to do consciously is to make it all about us. Not us against them. And there's always going to be anyone who's offended. Like, and what you said, Lenora, about the comments on TikTok, I often find myself reading comments of people when I post something, and then somebody posts something that has nothing to do with what I posted originally, and that just sparks a whole different conversation. And
yeah,
and it's like, where did you see? And I honestly, I don't. I mean, it depends who it is and the way that they're posting, but I honestly don't even, if they're just haters or trolls or people who are just like wanting to, stir something up. I don't even interact with them. Like, whatever, just, keep keep putting my interactions up, troll. It's fine. I don't care.
Feed the algorithm.
Exactly. Feed the algorithm. I don't care. Because I've gotten some things that are just so nothing to do with what I post. I also think that there's honestly, and this is like a personal take, and not only regarding the topic conversation, just in general. I feel that there's a lot of problems regarding reading comprehension, just in general in the world, in every single language.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Everywhere. So
Yeah.
I try not to take personally anything that any comments or any, like, not comments but criticisms, or just like really like hate that I get. And I can't go around apologizing to people who feel offended by what I post. So
Yeah, there's like a difference between being honest and being maybe I don't want to say tough love truthful, but there are certain things we talk about, or certain things and whether regardless of whether it's Childfree Girls or what I do with the age of the child or any other child free stuff I might write on Medium, there's like, look, this is the way it is, honesty, and someone might be offended by that because, as Isabel said, someone's going to be offended by anything. Tangent, people who are going to be offended by certain things are often those same hypersensitive people who think the world revolves around them and everything you say is about them. You expressing joy about your life is an attack on their life. You saying you like plants is you saying you think they're wrong for not liking plants. They just take everything as if you know who they are, care who they are, and are speaking directly to them, instead of, like, they're not considering that you have your own opinion, your own position, or your own stance or things to say. So I don't consider in that way parents when I do something for the age of the child, which is very parent heavy. When I'm talking about it, I am conscious of the fact that I didn't write it specifically for a child-free audience. I wrote it from a very child-free perspective and informed by all things child-free. But it's really intended to reach everybody who thinks everybody should have kids. I mean, it's for people. And I don't want to offend parents anyway. I mean, I think as long as you're saying what you're saying honestly and giving enough thought to think, am I saying this in a way that, because sometimes you're in a mood and you feel pissy and you will sound offensive if you don't check yourself. I do check myself, like, oh, this was not written in the way I wanted it to. So, like, I don't want to sound like I'm coming out intentionally to insult anybody, because I really don't. So I will be conscious of that kind of thing, but I will not censor myself in such a way as to not offend anybody. You know?
Yeah,
I
because
don't want to hurt anybody.
Yeah, because you can get parents who comment on the same post. Some of them are like, good for you. I have kids. I love them, but parenthood sucks sometimes, or it's hard, and then there are some that totally take it as a personal attack, again, because you're writing to them. This post is for them. It showed up on their page. Well, this person is totally attacking my life choices and they have to tell you about it. So, yes, everything can be taken out of context, or they can read it as is intended. You don't know. I mean, that's the perils of doing anything on social media, really. And I mean, on ours, so let's answer this as Childfree Girls, because we collaborate together on our social media posts as Childfree Girls. So what is Childfree Girls' stance? And I guess we all have to answer because we all contribute. Like,
I think Childfree Girls, in my opinion, is a little bit less, what's the word?
Uplifting?
No, that's not the word.
Well, I only say that
just the word I was looking for, but
okay.
It's just a little less self-conscious, I would say. I mean,
oh yeah,
it's more
there's braver.
No, it's just, there's a word for that. It's tongue-in-cheek. It's taunting in a way that makes people think.
We taunt people. I like that. I
feel
I
like
hope we
that.
taunt people.
like,
That's
I
fun.
love that.
I think that's what Childfree Girls is like. For me, it's an outlet to be taunting.
Provocative. Is that the word that maybe you're
Yeah.
thinking of?
That's
Provocative.
yes,
Okay.
that's what I
Okay.
was looking for, because we do
Okay.
put out some things that can be really misinterpreted and people can be really offended.
I should check
We're-
what a response is today for our post.
And we're not apologizing for that,
No.
because I think what we are doing with being so honest and so raw is to spark conversations and to make people think.
Yeah.
That's my opinion. I don't know if you
And
agree.
we're also not insulting anybody. You know, we're not coming down on people. We're not judging people. We have acknowledged that there are reasons people use words like crotch fruit, even if at the other end of that we have said maybe stop doing that, or at least explore why you're doing that or whatever.
Mhm.
But we're not. I think what I like about us is that we are provocative without being intentionally insulting just for attention
Or preachy.
or preachy.
Because we're not saying, oh, you must do this or you must not do this or whatever. I mean, we can't say that because we have different opinions individually, but it's spark conversation. We have conversations.
Yeah, but I think we are very, we're always like poking the bear, and the bear being prenatalist. Like that we do.
Yeah.
And being prenatalist doesn't matter if you're a parent, if you're not a parent, if you're religious, if you're not religious, just being prenatalist, like prenatalism in general.
Mm-hmm.
And I see that not only in our conversations, but also in the memes that we have. It's always like, I'm gonna do whatever I fucking want with my life. I don't care what you think. So yeah, I can feel some prenatalists being like, fuck, we need to get her. She needs to have children. Like I can see that. I can feel it. I can hear it from here. I'm like, I'm a witch. Sometimes they actually write the comments in our comment section. But yeah.
Do you guys, do you ladies, do you girls, whatever, do we feel braver as individuals coming together and doing this work? Like, think of it, because we're coming up to our 3rd year anniversary. Just hit me.
Oh yeah, August.
I know. Yeah. So I mean, by the time this airs, we still, a little ways to go still. But and maybe I've asked this question before, but do you feel individually more brave since we've banded together? Or in addition to that question, when we're creating as Childfree Girls, do you feel a little more brave saying things a certain way because we're using it under the Childfree Girls banner? Because I will totally comp to that, especially in the early days. It was so much easier for me to speak my mind and voice it in a certain way because I am using the Childfree Girls label.
And like be less careful.
Yeah.
I don't necessarily feel braver. I think I do feel more supported. I think it's different.
Yeah.
I think feeling supported is more about, I know they have my back and I have their backs. And, everything that we post and everything that we talk about, we have similar perspectives on things, but sometimes we can disagree with some things, and that's totally okay. But to me, it's also like, oh, we have a troll today. I don't want to fucking deal with that. At Kristen take care of the troll, because I don't want to. There was a troll not long ago. Somebody, I don't remember what the post was about, but this is what we're talking about. Like reading comprehension, none. I don't remember exactly what the post was about, and then this person commented, why would you get married if you don't want to have kids? And I was like, yep, I'm just gonna attack Kristen here because she's married. So yeah, I feel more supported, definitely.
That's a really good way of putting it, more so than brave, because I mean it does go hand in hand in the sense that if I'm going to say something, whether I'm saying it as me under the Childfree Girls label or even on my own personal stuff, if someone's going to disagree, they're totally fine to disagree. It's fine when people do disagree, but if something goes a little bit off the rails, we're like, okay, where did this come from? And yeah, you don't want to deal with it. Or, in the case of our social media or YouTube channel, when people come out of the woodwork and have thoughts, it's like nice to just post it. We post it in our chat and discuss like, all right, how do we want to reply to that? Because it's bouncing off ideas, but also too, it's because sometimes I don't know, for me, there have been times where it just feels like a heavy burden. I'm like, oh, I got to deal with this. And I'm not in the headspace to deal with it, or I don't know how to deal with it, or I feel attacked, because sometimes I feel sensitive on occasion. And I'm like, you're missing the point. And I take it personally, even though it's not personal. So it's nice to say, all right, this is what we got to deal with. Let's come up with something great, post, and carry on with life. It's very nice to have. And I think that's why a lot of people do get burnt out, because they're not working. They're not collaborating. Don't be afraid to collaborate, people. It's actually a very good thing.
Yeah, I was going to say that I don't feel braver at all, because when I started writing as Sylvia De Lucas, I was just kind of, I don't fear the written argument. Like, I kind of crave it and I like it.
Which is why we tag you.
Well, what I mean, because usually if I was writing something like that, it was because I felt like I was addressing a wrong. Like, you are wrong to judge child-free people. You are wrong to pressure me to have kids. Like, I just felt like this has to be said. This cannot go without saying, and I'm not going to be afraid of saying something like this. So it's always just kind of been an imperative rather than it almost doesn't feel like a choice. It's almost like someone has to say something and blah, 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 blah. But I really do like that, like there is, because I was all alone doing that stuff until I met you two. There wasn't really anyone I could make fun of certain things in the same way that I can now, because who would I do it to? Like, Lenora, you're the one who put, you're the one who put the oi reaction basically to an article about what's her name accused of killing her roommate, thinking people should get out of prison earlier because they have uteruses.
Yeah.
And it's like, what? And so we can put that stuff. There's a place to put that stuff, and other people who are going to go, oh my God, that's ridiculous.
Yes.
Place to put funny memes that we might not share in public because maybe they are. I do think that what really helps with that is the fact that we're all kind of in the same place when it comes to the way we approach the conversation and the way we don't talk about parents, and a lack of a prejudice toward kids and parents just because they happen to be kids and parents. Also, I mean, first, like, if you do want to talk that way, don't expect others to want to understand you. You have to extend that same courtesy. If you don't give a shit about them, why should they give a shit about you and your choices? Mm-hmm. Also, there might be similarly disturbing to them reasons that they do judge child-free people, because there are a lot of people who had kids not knowing they had a choice. Imagine how much worse that is than feeling judged for not having kids. They have created this entire life that they might otherwise not have, simply because they didn't know they could choose not to do that. So then they see someone like you who didn't do that and who gets to do whatever you want. I mean, all of the things being equal, let's keep that. It's not like everyone has $1 million, but you have more options than does someone with kids. And they see that, and they maybe regret that they didn't know that they could make that choice. And so it's kind of like, it's easier to be angry maybe at someone who gets to do something you didn't get to do than it is to sink into the pit of despair that is your life.
Well, that was all for this episode. Thank you for sticking with us this far. If you want to send us an email, you can send us an email with your questions, your comments, anything at all, anything you want. childfreegirls@gmail.com. Sorry, not anything you want. Please don't send us nudes or attachments. We don't open attachments. But anything else, questions, comments, stories, we do read them all, we promise. It just maybe takes us a little bit to answer. And our website is childfreegirls.com.
And of course, we are all over social media. You can find us at Childfree Girls on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. We are also on Amazon. Our book, Childfree Girls, Comfort Food for Thought, is available on paperback and on Kindle.
The book is right behind Lenora. It's between the 3 Lenoras, the 4 Lenoras.
Yes, the 4 Lenoras. There's a lot of Lenoras.
4 Lenoras in Lenora's office right now.
There's a lot more downstairs too, but it's contained. Believe me, I don't cover my house in me. Not that way. Also, don't forget, we have Dear Childfree Girls. So if you want to ask us a question, have a scenario you want feedback on, we're not charging for this. You can send us an email with the title Dear Childfree Girls, and we will send our replies. Actually, we will post them on our blog and on our blog.
Yes, our blog and our blog. we will do that.
There's something else we're posting them on, but never mind. It's on our blog.
And on Instagram too. There.
Yes, on social media, but you can send it anonymously. We won't publish your details, so don't worry.
If you don't want us to.
Yeah.
But if you don't give us an alternate name to use, we'll just use the name you give us. So just be conscious of that. Also make sure you put Dear Childfree Girls in the subject line if you want us to post it publicly. That shows that you understand that this will go public. We're not just going to reply to you in an email. And today's question for you is, are you a user of the words crutch, goblin, crotch, fruit, seed, demon, sperm, demon? Do you use those words? Or have you heard them used and you have a feeling about them? Do you have no feeling in general? Basically, what do you think about that kind of language? What does it say, do you think, or how does it make you feel? Basically, yeah, that's.
Now, normally we ask people to put their thoughts in comments, but do we want comments about these terms, using the terms on how?
Yeah, do you
how
have any new terms?
Well, wait a second. We're gonna get a lot of.
I do want to hear from people that have made up terms, new terms that I haven't heard, that are not as like in your face.
That's a really good
because they can get pretty. There's a lot of creativity in this world, and we should not discourage that.
So use your potential and come up with something different besides crotch fruit. Is that what we're asking our audience to do? Okay.
Well, like if they do have, like I kind of like the example that my husband's friend had, like he, instead of fuck trophy, he's like intercourse reward, like.
And that for some reason makes it easier. Like I would actually use that. And okay. This could be interesting.
Yeah, we'll just see based on whatever that question was. We'll just see what you come up with and share it with us with us in the comments. Please subscribe to us on YouTube. Please rate us on Apple
and Spotify. You can now give us 5-star ratings on Spotify.
5 stars.
And if this is your first time listening or your first time watching, we do have over 60 other episodes going back 3 years, and you'll find a vast assortment of topics and a lot of really, really good guests. So
we have like 70 plus because we do bonus content as well. And
right. We have fun Halloween ones. Yeah. So go check it out if you're just sitting around eating ice cream and want something to watch. Or tiramisu if you're eating tiramisu or pasta. I am so hungry.
Me too. I'm starving.
Don't forget to tune in a couple of weeks for our newest episode.
Bye.
Bye.